Part 199. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1981. Bai Dalan was the first to come back to his senses, and quickly supported his father, and then asked the servants to prepare the things to receive the order. Seeing that they were in a mess, Mrs. Lu couldn't help but shook her head and took over the arrangement. This is not the first time the manor has received an order, what's the hurry? He also asked Bai Shan and Man Bao to pull Bai Erlang down to change his clothes. Bai Erlang had recovered from the shock, and he was still in disbelief when he was pushed back to his room. Is that so? Bai Shan said, it's been a month before and after, and it's still short, so hurry up and change your clothes. Bai Erlang changed his clothes and came out, and Mrs. Bai finally recovered. She didn't care to look at Master Bai, who was still confused, and hurried to find Bai Erlang and put all the beautiful accessories she could find on him, but don't be ashamed. Bai Erlang felt that it would be more embarrassing to hang so many things on his body. Bai Shan and Man Bao felt the same way, so Mrs. Bai hung one on him, and they took apart one. In the end, Bai Shan chose a piece of jade for Bai Erlang. On the other hand, Man Bao picked out a network for him, and then comforted Mrs. Bai, that's enough, no matter how much. People in the palace thought our family was a nouveau riche. Mrs. Bai thought about it too, but she still regretted looking at the things on the table. It's a pity that you are the only one, otherwise bring them all, so that the emperor knows that our family is not poor, and the princess is not very wronged when she married into our family. As he was talking, Lu Gui hurried in from the outside and said, Mrs. Tang, young master, Miss Man, young master Tang, the people from the palace have entered the street, and they will be at the door in a while. Mrs. Bai stopped dawdling immediately, and asked her son to go out to meet him. When Gu Zhong and the others stopped in front of Zhou's house, the door of Zhou's house was already open, and Master Bai led his two sons and Bai Shan's human to the front, followed by old Zhu Tu and others who came to join in the fun. No way, old Zhou Tiou, who received such a big battle, had never seen it before, so he was very curious. He thought that receiving the imperial decree to pacify Zhou Yin's grievances in the past 2 years was already lively enough, but he didn't expect that the marriage of the princess would be even more lively. The angel came to report in advance, beating gongs and drums all the way, and before the decree arrived, all the nearby neighbors knew about it. Gu Zhong dismounted with the imperial decree, and after entering the gate, waited for them to kneel down in accordance with the rules and then loudly declared the decree. There were servants from other families who came to join in the fun. After listening to the imperial decree, he went back to learn from the master's family, and he could get some reward money. This imperial decree for giving marriage is not much different from other imperial decrees. As usual, it listed the family background of the Bai family, then praised the ancestors of the Bai family, and pointed out that Bai Erlang was well prepared for his literary talent and personality, so he was praised by him. The emperor recruited Princess Mingda's concubine. Bai Erlang listened with relish, and when Gu Zhong finished reading the imperial decree, he thanked his father one step ahead, and stretched out his hand to receive the decree. Gu Zhong only looked at him condescendingly, and then looked at Master Bai with a smile. Master Bai still understands the rules. He reached out and knocked down his son's hand. While expressing his apology, he extended his hand to accept the imperial decree. Only then did Gu Zhong smile. This is a happy event, and it is understandable for the second young master to be happy. Master Bai said yes again and again, looking at his eldest son. Dalan Bai immediately took a money bag up, and Master Bai took it and stuffed it to Gu Zhong as his wine money. Gu Zhong did not refuse, and said with a smile, our family asked the eldest to take the second young master's happy money first, and we will ask for another wedding wine in the future. Master Bai smiled and said, it should be, it should be. When he turned around, he was about to invite Gu Zhong and others into the house to eat something before leaving. If there are other imperial decrees, they will naturally leave after the announcement, but this is the imperial decree for marriage. In addition to him, people from the Ministry of Rites have also come, and they are here to kiss. Therefore, Gu Zhong and officials from the Ministry of Rites were invited to the main hall together. So everyone began to discuss the engagement of Bai Erlang and Princess Mingda. Yes, although the emperor bestowed marriage, the process of getting married still has to go. The officials of the Ministry of Rites and Gu Zhong had a lunch in Zhou's house, and then they took Bai Erlang's birth date from the Bai family. Of course, Bai Erlang and the three boys couldn't get in on these things, and they all withdrew after a while. When Yin Or brought Chang Shao over, the three were squatting on the edge of the flower bed and paying close attention to the movement in the main hall. Because their backs were facing the door, they did not see Yin Or the master and servant. Yin Or glanced into the main hall and asked, "Is it someone from the palace?" The three of them were startled by the sudden sound, and they all raised their heads. Seeing that he was facing the light, his face was a little unreal. The three of them stood up from the ground and asked, "Why are you here?" Yin He pointed at the beef in Chang Shao's hand and said, "Didn't you agree to deliver beef to you? When my car entered the street, I heard that the emperor gave marriage, and it was you who came from the palace." Home. Only then did the three Bai Shan remember this matter, and after responding, they led him to the back, and also explained their behavior when they were squatting there just now. "Uncle Tang is a little excited today, so we don't worry, just stay there for more." Took a look. Man Bao continued, "I'm a doctor. If I get too excited, I'll get a needle. Bai Erlang, my father may be fine when he sees me, so we waited outside." Yin Or couldn't help laughing out loud, nodded and said, "I know, you didn't squat there to eavesdrop and peep on purpose." The three of them were a little embarrassed and wanted to change the subject, so they looked at the beef in Chang Shao's hand, and Bai Shan boasted, "This beef is good at first glance," and then killed. Man Bao and Bai Erlang also looked over, their eyes lit up. "The beef bone stew is also delicious." Chang Shao said proudly, "This is a cow that died accidentally in the village of Shuguo's public house. My young master came back and said that he wanted to eat beef, and Shuguo's public family deliberately set aside the best piece." Yin He said, "It's not the best piece, the best Shuguo Gongfu has already been received." Man Bao said, "It's good enough, let's go, I'll take you to find my sister-in-law." Old Zhutu was also in the hall, but Jianxi and the others didn't join in the fun. Seeing Man Bao and the others carrying such a large piece of beef, Jianxi couldn't help but say, "You greedy people, cattle are not easy to kill." Yin Or smiled, explaining that he would not kill cows next time. Bai Shan and the others were very skeptical. "Can you still manage the residents of Duke Shuguo?" "No," Yin He said, "but it's always right to come down." This was the trick he used to deal with his grandmothers and sisters at home. No luck. Bai Shan said, "I heard people say that Shuguo's mansion has to slaughter a cow every month. Where did their family get so many cows?" "It wasn't raised in Guan'ei," Yin He said, "it was sent from the grasslands. It was given to them by merchants from outside the country. It is well known that Duke Shuguo likes to eat beef. And also ask for some from Shuguo Gongfu. See you at 6 p.m. Farmer's Blessed Girl." Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1982. When Mr. Bai came out of Qilai village, he brought a lot of local goods, especially Zhou Lang, who took off the pickled bamboo shoots this spring and packed several jars for him. Xiao Jian now fished out a handful of bamboo shoots from the jar, cut the beef and stewed it. When the stew was almost done, he added the chopped bamboo shoots to stir-fry together, and simmered again. Then she turned to face. She prepared the noodles, fished them out and put them in a bowl. A bowl of noodles only had a handful of greens, and she poured a spoonful of the prepared noodles on it. After a while, there was a bowl of noodles in front of everyone. Man Bao immediately started to mix it, and called everyone to eat quickly. "You're welcome. Bai Shan and Bai Erlang are naturally welcome." Yin or had a weak spleen and stomach, but he couldn't help eating the whole bowl of noodles. Sure enough, just like what Joe Man said, once he ate it, he would never forget it. Only then did he vaguely understand why Sukyuagong likes beef so much, because beef is really delicious. Their side was a simple bowl of noodles, and the olds Hutu followed Mr. Bai and the others to eat a particularly hearty lunch with the officials of the Ministry of Rights and Guzhou. When he sent the officials of the Ministry of Rights away, he was still a little unsure, but as soon as he got back to his yard, he smelled a special fragrance. He couldn't help but ask, "What's so fragrant?" Man Bao stuck his head out of the kitchen and said, "Dad, you're back, my sister-in-law is stewing bones for us." Lao's Hutu licked his stomach and stepped forward, and asked, "Master Bai's house has a lot of delicious food, why did you still open fire here?" Bai Erlang nodded again and greeted everyone, "You can go to my house to eat at night, my father is happy, he must have made a lot of delicious food." Man Bao asked, "Dad, did the officials from the Ministry of Rights talk about the approximate wedding date?" The olds Hutu said, "I didn't say it, I heard that I have to wait for another princess to get married. I heard that, it will be 2 or 3 years later, but I asked whether Master Bai will live in the princess mansion or in the future. The capital will buy another house to live in." Olds Hutu couldn't help but glanced at Bai Erlang and said, "Actually, it's not bad for us to live together. There's no need to buy another house to live in. After the princess gets married and has the princess mansion, it will be more comfortable. The main reason is that in the past year, the 3 families have done a lot of things together more conveniently, all kinds of expenses have also been reduced, and everyone can live together and make love. Especially now that Master Bai and the Emperor have become in-laws." Olds Hutu didn't know whether Master Bai was dizzy or not, anyway, he was a little dizzy, he only thought that Master Bai was the Emperor's in-laws, and he lived with the Emperor's in-laws now, he and Bai were also relatives. His daughter's husband's cousin equals his daughter's relative, which is also equal to his relative, so once mixed, he is also a relative of the Emperor. Olds Hutu never imagined that he would still have such a moment, until Bai Shan and the others took Yin or back to his yard to rest, he still hadn't recovered. He stopped Man Bao and asked, "When I get back to the village, if I say that I am a relative of the Emperor's relatives, the officials won't ask me for my sins, right?" After thinking about it, Man Bao said, "Probably not, who doesn't have a few poor relatives?" Old Joe thought about it too, but he still retorted, "Our family is not poor now." Seeing that her father was so happy to be the Emperor's relative, Man Bao remembered that she was going to resign, and after a while, she didn't say anything, got up and patted her clothes and said, "Dad, you rest for a while, I'll go see Mr. Bai Shan and the others are also with Mr. Bai." "There is no way. Mr. Bai doesn't really want to see the children today. Now that he has calmed down, he feels a little ashamed of his excitement." Mrs. Bai didn't care, she sat beside him and babbled, "I heard that Princess Mingda is the daughter of the Emperor and the Queen, and she is the most favored among all the princesses. How many dowry gifts do we have to prepare to be worthy of her?" He said again, "Should our family buy another house in the capital to live in, we can't have the whole family live in the princess mansion. I don't mind, I'm afraid Erlang will be embarrassed, in case the royal people say that what about eating soft rice?" Speaking of this, Mrs. Bai became annoyed again, "I don't know if the princess will get along well, and whether she will bully Erlang in the future." Master Bai said, "You are too worried. Didn't you listen to Erlang? They are friends. Haven't you seen people before and said they are gentle? But Tianji, a princess, is always majestic, right?" Master Bai said, "No matter how dignified you are, that's your daughter-in-law. You must always be polite. Don't be too arrogant. That's what you will be embarrassing for Erlang. You are not false, you are not false, what are you dizzy with today?" Master Bai, I'm so happy that Erlang can marry a daughter-in-law. But in fact, My heart is still in a trance. Master Bai is a very self-aware person. Although he was born in the Bai family, he is a side member of the aristocratic family, but his father died early, and he saw no less than Bai Chi. Why did he choose to settle in the remote Qilai village with so much land production? Apart from the fact that the land in Qilai village is really good in Feng Shui, it is to avoid some people. It is said that a single tree is difficult to support. His grandfather separated them from one tree, and to him they are all single line, and only have 2 sons. Although the family can't get involved in his business, they always find excuses to repair their ancestral hall during the festivals, or ask him for some money to support the orphans and widows of the family. Not only this family, but also some officials in the state and county, always find an excuse to come to get money. Mr. Bai has no ambitions, and he also knows that he will not be an examiner, so he simply moved his family to Qilai village, just in time to avoid the disturbance outside, occasionally go out to socialize, and keep close to the outside world. Relationship is fine. He always thought that they should be able to establish a firm foothold in the state and county after Dallin. As for Erlang, he can be at Tianchuang safely, and he is already very satisfied. After all, this kid was real leather when he was a kid. Master Bai didn't expect such a skinny boy to be favored by the emperor, and took their family to a new level. He swallowed and said, "Thank you for this, Mr. Zhuang." Mrs. Bai nodded, "I have to thank Mr. Zhuang. It was thanks to Mr. Zhuang who smoothed things out just now that nothing went wrong." Master Bai glanced at her and said, "I have to thank Zhou Man and Shanbao. I remember that my uncle sent a piece of Lanshan jade. Just divide it into 4 pieces and make a jade pendant for each of them." Mrs. Bai was taken aback and asked, "Don't you want to give it as a gift to make a name for Dallin? You also said that you will be famous for the imperial examinations." Master Bai said, "I don't need it now, take it out for the children. He is already the emperor's relatives, do you still need to take a piece of jade and send it around to seek fame? See you at 9. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1983. Yin He went home after dinner at Zhou's house. Lu Huan, who had agreed to come over for dinner, disappeared, and no one took it to heart. The next day, Lu Huan appeared at the door of Zhou's house with a gloomy face. He followed Yin Or into the door, and kept saying, "If I don't come, you won't ask people to see me. I also think that you can send someone to find me, so I can find an excuse to go out." Bai Shan and the others were looking at the accounts of Xiao Zhuangzi and Pu village in Qilai village. Hearing this, they asked without raising their heads, "You were fine when you left the palace. Why didn't your family let you go out?" "My grandfather said that the angel came to your house to announce the decree, and I'm busy at the moment, so don't let me make trouble," Lu Huan said here and curiously moved to Bai Erlang's side. "In this way, you really want to be the concubine?" Bai Erlang nodded slightly reservedly, but his face was filled with uncontrollable joy. "Yes." Lu Huan didn't understand what it was to be happy about. Seeing that he was happy, he said, "When Wei Yu was chosen as the concubine before, you still sympathized with him with me. Why are you so happy when you are the concubine?" Bai Erlang said, "Can that be the same?" Lu Huan, "Why is it different? How can it be the same?" "The princesses are different," Bai Erlang said. "Princess Mingda is knowledgeable, intelligent, and resourceful." Lu Huan lengthened his voice, "Oh," and whispered, "So you are saying that Princess Changjiao is unruly and willful, and clumsy?" Man Bao and Bai Shan on the side. The 2 coughed lightly, raised their heads and looked at them in warning. Man Bao even said, "Princess Changjiao and Princess Mingda are both my friends." Lu Huan immediately did not dare to arrange people. Yin Or on the side smiled, put down the book in his hand and asked, is there anything I need help? Bai Shan unceremoniously distributed an account book to him. Help me calculate the balance. Yin Or saw the record on it. On the 5th day of the 3rd month, 38 eggs and 12 duck eggs are collected. What is this? Some of the output of our Zhuangzi in Qilai village, Bai Shan said. Calculate the account to see if it's correct, and finally check the amount of money. By the way, we have a lot of eggs, and we usually sell them for 2 cents and 3 eggs. Lu Huan, who had nothing to do on the side, was surprised. Eggs are so cheap. Man Bao glanced at him and asked, how expensive do you think it is? Bai Shan said, it's not cheap anymore. How many eggs do you need for a meal? Man Bao said, if my family has too many, one person will have 20 eggs for one person, not to mention that one person will definitely eat more than one egg at a time. Yin Or calculated for them, while Bai Shan looked at the account book in his hand for a while and said to Man Bao, I think this year's summer harvest in Pu village is not bad. We don't need to worry about the seeds, but we have to add some farm tools. Do you add or not add? What he means is, don't you want to resign? Do you still need to work hard? Man Bao hesitated for a moment and then nodded, add a little less. She sighed and said, being a monk hits the clock for a day after all. The matter of resigning from office is still not a word, and one can't delay hundreds of families in Pu village because of her own reasons. Bai Shan made a record, nodded and said, the autumn harvest is about to begin. When the autumn harvest ends, it can be counted as this year's harvest. At that time, it will be clear at a glance whether it is a loss or a profit. Bai Erlang, who was on the side, also calculated the expenses, and after writing the ledger, he dropped the pen. It's really tiring, it's not easy to earn such a little money. Man Bao said, you shut up, it's just the account, I haven't let you go to the ground to plant. Bai Shan turned his head and asked Man Bao, how is the rice in the experimental field? If it can be effective, maybe the cost they invested will come back faster. Man Bao, I was about to tell you, my eldest brother said that the front is still growing well, but the back is gradually uneven. Yes, now that the harvest is about to be harvested, some of the shells are still empty. Bai Shan, isn't the grouting done? Man Bao nodded, in short, there are many problems. My eldest brother also said that the rice in the experimental field is also more attractive to insects. Obviously there are crops next to it, but the insects like to eat the rice in that field. My eldest brother hummed the experimental field. My heart almost has as much as the entire Zhuangzi. Although the condition of the experimental field was not optimistic, Man Bao still told Zhou Dalan to take good care of it. Later, she had to screen out the seeds to continue planting, and also give a copy to DRD, so that she could have a reference for the experiment. At the same time, DRD will also give her a new trial seed. Man Bao took this matter to heart, and when Bai Shan and the others settled the accounts, she put it away after confirming that there was no problem. Lu Huan was incredulous, you still manage Zhuangzi's accounts? Are you busy? He said, shouldn't this kind of thing be in charge? Man Bao said, my second niece is not at home, so I take care of it myself, it's just checking, my nephew and the others have done the accounting. She said this for a while and asked Lu Huan, your family's accounts are directly handed over to the steward without checking. Lu Huan thought the same thing. He stopped talking. Seeing that the four of them were very calm, he couldn't help turning his head again. No, Bai Er, you just decided to kiss yesterday. Are you so calm today? Bai Erlang raised his head and asked, otherwise, I want to be excited, but they don't accompany me out, can I be excited by myself? Lu Huan rolled up his sleeves and said, I'll accompany you. But Bai Erlang looked at the big sun outside and said, forget it, it looks so hot, let's stay at home. Yesterday, Mrs. Zhou made a lot of seizai, so we can continue to eat seizai noodles. Man Bao said, it's dog days, Don't go out if you have nothing to do. So the four of them didn't go out. Lu Huan had no choice but to stay in Zhou's house to spend a day with them. When he left in the evening, it was still a little strange, just messing around for a day. But after getting on the carriage, I thought about it carefully. Although I didn't do anything today, I didn't go out to play, but I had a good time. The most important thing is to relax. He opened the curtain to see Yin or got into the carriage and was about to leave. He immediately leaned on the window and spoke to him, "Shall we enter the palace together tomorrow?" Yin Shi refused. Now every time he enters the palace, his father takes him through the back door. Otherwise, it would be too rushed to walk from the entrance of the palace to Changguan Pavilion in the morning. Lu Huan watched his carriage go away, and then quickly asked the driver to catch up, and the two left in tandem. Lu Huan was not the only one who wanted to take the opportunity to make fun of Bai Erlang. When they entered the palace the next day, they met a lot of people at the gate of the palace. Everyone made fun of Bai Erlang and called him consort. It was rare for Bai Erlang to be called a little embarrassed, and the flushed face should not be. See you tomorrow. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1984. Zhao Liaolang walked directly to Bai Erlang and swayed, "We are also relatives, so call my cousin to listen." Shirojiro. Everyone was joking around Bai Erlang for a while before letting him go. Like Lu Huan, there were people in Changguan Hall who felt that being a concubine was better than being a rich son, and there were also those who envied Bai Er. The most important thing is that they took a look at their family background, and they didn't know where they were wrong. Besides being 2 years younger than them, what advantages does Bai Er have? It's just that no matter how unconvinced they are, facing Bai Erlang at this time, everyone squeezed out a smile to congratulate him. Not only the people in the Changguan Pavilion, but even many ministers in the upper class did not expect that it was Bai Cheng who hired Princess Mingda in the end. It is a pity that no one from the Bai family is an official in the court, so everyone congratulated Mr. Zhou Man's Huang after attending the great court meeting. Because the younger brother became the concubine, he was inexplicably congratulated Man Bao. Even Mr. Zhuang was stunned before he could react, so he hurriedly thanked him, because Bai Er, he bent more today than the 2 previous ceremonies combined. Prince Gong was the last group of people in the palace to get the news. After all, he was injured, and no one would deliberately mention this in front of him. It was only when Princess Gong mentioned that he needed to prepare some makeup for Mingda and Chang Yu, he only knew that Mingda was engaged. King Gong asked, "Mingda's marriage has also been decided? Whose son is it?" Princess Gong glanced at him and said, "It's settled, Bai Cheng of the Bai clan in Mianzhou." Prince Gong couldn't help but straighten his waist slightly. "Who?" "Bai Cheng." Princess Gong said, "The ancestral home is in Longzhou, and it is considered a noble family." Prince Gong shook his lips and said, "What aristocratic family? Isn't it Zhou Man's junior brother?" Princess Gong stopped talking. Prince Gong said in disgust, "Why did the royal father like him? How could he be worthy of Mingda?" Concubine Gong said, "The queen mother is also very satisfied." King Gong felt as uncomfortable as swallowing a fly. When Zhou Man came to change his dressing, his eyes were not eyes and his nose was not nose. Man Bao didn't care, took the medicine and told the people around him to keep an eye on him and then left. King Gong's injury has improved, his leg has been determined to not recover as before, and the queen's condition is also improving. At least he is out of danger and will not be bedridden every day. Only then did the emperor deal with King Gong's crooked bones. Xiao Yuanzheng was deprived of the position of the head of the courtyard and downgraded to the 5th rank. In addition, there were fines and deductions in salary and so on. It's just that in Xiao Yuanzhen's opinion, the penalty and deduction of salary is really not worth mentioning compared to demotion. The position of the imperial physician of the Taiyuan hospital was lost in an instant, and the imperial physicians in the Taiyuan hospital began to pay attention. Under the leadership of Xiao Yuan, there are still 3 fifth-grade imperial physicians. One is Imperial Physician Lu, the other is Imperial Physician Lu, and there was another Imperial Physician before, but Imperial Physician Ji resigned, so now only Imperial Physician Lu and Imperial Physician Lu can compete for this hospital. Right job. Among them, Imperial Physician Lu has the most advantage, because Imperial Physician Lu is old, and he rarely cares about matters in the Imperial Hospital, which is not as much as that of Imperial Physician Lu. The Thai hospital is different from other departments. The chief officials of other departments have to ask the courtiers' opinions, but the Thai hospital can be assigned by the emperor in one word. The emperor didn't even think about asking the courtiers' opinions, so he asked Xiao Yuanzheng who thought could take over the position of Yuanzheng. Xiao Yuanzheng did not directly propose Imperial Physician Lu, but only commented on Imperial Physician Lu and Imperial Physician Lu. He believed that Imperial Physician Lu had excellent medical skills and a peaceful personality but was too gentle. Thai Physician Lu thought that Imperial Physician Lu had superb medical skills, and was too strong in his prime. The emperor pondered, and when he met Zhou Man at the Queen's place, he asked, "Do you think it's good for Imperial Dr. Lu to be the hospital, or Imperial Dr. Lu to be the hospital?" Man Bao said without thinking, "Dr. Lu." The emperor didn't expect her to be so direct. "Oh," he smiled and asked, "Why?" Man Baodao, "Because of the stability. Imperial Physician Lu is the head of the hospital, and the decision made by Xiao Yuanzheng will not change greatly. Imperial Physician Lu is different. He is young and strong, and some ideas are the same as those of the previous Taiyuan hospital. It's different, he is in the court, so it needs to be changed." The emperor thought about it. Lu Tai is also for the good of the Taiyuan hospital. Wouldn't it be better to make the Tai hospital get better and better? "Okay," Man Bao said, "it's not bad to change, but the Imperial Physician's office has only been open for a year, and the previous decision has only stabilized, so it is not appropriate to change. If your Majesty asks me a few years later, I may said Imperial Physician Lu." The Queen on the side smiled and said, "It's not that Imperial Physician Lu is incompetent, but that he is not suitable to be the chief officer at this time." Man Bao nodded. The emperor was thoughtful, nodded and told her to retreat. Man Bao also changed the medicine sticker for the Queen, put away the medicine box and retired. After she left, the Queen sighed, "This opinion is many times better than the imperial doctor in the same hospital. If the imperial hospital is handed over to her in the future." The emperor returned to his senses. "She is still young now, which is not suitable. Let's talk about the future. I didn't think there was anything wrong with a woman being a chief officer, which was very different from when Zhou Man was a 6th-rank official before." The Queen raised her lips and brought up another matter. "I heard that the mother asked someone to go to Longzhou to buy that Laozi statue." Emperor. After returning from Suanduguan, the Queen Mother became more and more unwilling. She seemed to think that the Laozi that Zhou Man had worshipped was the best, so she asked her family to enter the palace, and they brought money to Longzhou to buy the Laozi. The statue of Lao Tzu sent by people. Just didn't buy it. The Queen said, "I heard that the Lao Tzu statue has been bid for 2,000 taels. Cousin and the others also took out 2 pieces of silk. Now the Zhang family still refuses to let it go. The emperor now has a toothache when he hears the amount of money, and he asks, the money given by the mother." The Queen shook her head, "I don't know if it's the mother's body, or if the cousin paid for it by themselves. If the mother's body is too good, if the Dou family paid for it." The emperor felt even more headache. He thought about it and said, "Forget it, let the cousins and the others take them back. It's not like this is how money is spent at home. The main thing is that the money spent by the Dou family will definitely have to be recovered from him in the end. He lost, but the Dou family may not make any money, so it is not worth it." The Queen also thought so, and smiled. The Queen Mother is devout and doesn't want to forcefully buy it, so I thought it would be better for me to come forward and exchange things. It's not easy for the emperor to come forward in this kind of thing, and the queen mother wants to be pious, so only the queen can come. She said, choose a similar Laozi statue from the warehouse, and then give some copybooks to the old man of the Zhang family. I think they will agree to change it. The emperor snorted, the copybook in Zitong's hand is worth 1,000 pieces of gold. Of course they agreed to exchange it. Seeing that he was so distressed, the queen smiled and said, I'll give you one too. That's how it was settled. The Zhang family was indeed very happy when they received the things from the queen. Mrs. Zhang glanced at the copybook, and immediately asked someone to take out the Laozi statue that Mrs. Liu had sent to the chamberlain. Then he took the copybook back to the study and did not go out. See you at 6 p.m. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1985. The Empress Dowager got the Laozi portrait that she wanted, and the Zhang family not only got the imperial gift from the queen, but also got a very precious copybook. Everyone was very happy. What is even more gratifying is that Mrs. Liu's birthday gift, which was only a medium and upper class, became much more precious in an instant. 2 months have passed since the birthday gift, but she not only received a letter of greetings from Long Zhejiang, but also received a generous gift. Even Lao Lai was as calm as her, and she couldn't help laughing at this time, and then said, this is unintentionally inserting willows and willows to make a shade. Mrs. Zheng glanced at the gift list in Mrs. Liu's hand, and continued to lower her head to make her clothes. Mother, my in-laws said that Thursday and the others are coming back. I think they will leave the palace in 2 days. Why don't they leave the palace? Ask someone to buy some fish and come back to make fish balls, he said before entering the palace last time, saying that Auntie Rong's fish balls are delicious. Mrs. Liu nodded slightly, go buy it, buy some more, and go back and make some for your in-laws. Man Bao in the palace still got the news from Mr. Zhuang that Thursday Lang and the others were coming back. She got up to wash up and prepare to leave the palace when Xiaomu was bright that day. Bai Shan and Bai Erlang were still a little stunned when they were woken up, not to mention the other students in the next room who were sleeping soundly. When Zhao Liaolang heard the sound, he couldn't help kicking the quilt away and shouting, Zhou Man. He lay on the bed and kicked the board twice, and shouted, can you be quiet, can't we sleep well after taking a rest? Man Bao Yang said, 3 poles are rising in the sun. But if you don't go to school, does it matter if you have 3 poles a day? Man Bao probably knew this, his voice was a little lower, and he only urged Bai Shan and Bai Erlang, hurry up, you can go home and sleep if you want. Bai Shan got up silently, and gave Bai Er a hand. Yin or the neighbor next door also got up in a daze. He opened the window and saw Man Bao standing in the yard sighing, looking worried about the country and the people. Man Bao turned his head to see him and raised his hand to greet him, Yin or you are also awake, my 4th brother is back, he must have brought a lot of good things back, do you want to come to my house to play? Yin or shook his head after thinking about it, I'm afraid not today, my sisters are coming back today. Man Bao thought of his 6 sisters, and immediately said, okay, then you can play at home and call you another day when you are free. Because of Zhou Man, when the 3 of them left the palace with their things, most of the people in the Changguan pavilion were still sleeping, and when they arrived at the palace gate, there was no one there. The guards checked their belongings in loneliness and then let them go. After looking behind them for a while, they didn't see a 4th student coming, so they couldn't help but turn around and look at the 3 of them seriously. Master Zhou Xiao has breakfast. Man Bao waved his hand vigorously, it's the same when you go home and eat. As soon as they left the palace gate, they saw Daji and the others parked their car. The 3 immediately put their things on the car, and another guard went to hand over to the officials at the palace gate and led the 3 people's horses out. Man Bao excitedly asked Daji, how much did my 4th brother bring back this time? Daji said, Master on Thursday hasn't come home yet. Man Bao was startled, Didn't you send a letter 2 days earlier saying that it was coming? Why hasn't it arrived yet? Daji said, I sent a letter back yesterday, saying that people have arrived in Pu village, but they have brought a lot of things, so they have to stay on Zhuangzi for one night. If some things are not easy to bring back to Beijing, they have to stay in Pu village. Daji paused and said, because I heard that I brought a lot of things. Master Zhou and the others went out to Pu village early this morning, saying they were counting things together. Manbao immediately asked, my sister-in-law went too. Daji replied with a smile, your sister-in-law is at home now on Saturday, and everyone else went there early in the morning. The three stomachs groaned at the same time. When Daji heard it, he couldn't help but glanced at their stomachs, and said with a smile, Miss Man, young master, let's get in the car, the old lady has made a lot of delicious food in the kitchen these 2 days. The three of them lost the strength to ride in an instant, and climbed into the carriage and sat home. When Mrs. Lu heard that they left the palace without breakfast, she was both angry and funny, and then sent someone to the kitchen to prepare breakfast for them. I made fish balls at home, and I asked Aunt Rong to serve a bowl for each of you to eat. Manbao nodded and said, Grandma Lu, we'll go out when we're full. Mrs. Lu asked, are you going to Pu village? Manbao nodded, I want to go have a look. Bai Shan and Bai Erlang also want to go. Mrs. Lu nodded and asked them to have breakfast, then turned around and let Daji go down to arrange and escort them there in a while. Auntie Rong's fish balls were smooth and tender. Seeing that Manbao was having a good time, Bai Shan put several into her bowl while her grandmother was not paying attention. When Mrs. Lu looked back, she just pretended not to know, but didn't allow it when they wanted to add more after eating a bowl, and advised, it's summer and autumn, eat less, or you'll get itchy again when you look back. She said, it's not good to ride a horse immediately after eating. Go to greet your husband first, and then go out after seeing the adults. Only then did Bai Erlang remember that his father and mother were there, and he asked, cousin, is my father still in the capital? Madame Lu couldn't help patting him, and said angrily and joyfully, this is what your father heard and beat you carefully. The three of them ran away with a smile, first to greet Mr. Chuang, and then to see Master Bai and Mrs. Bai. Master Bai entered Beijing this time because he received a letter from Mrs. Lu. Now that Bai Erlang's marriage has been decided, they plan to look for it in the capital to see if they can buy some property for the two children. Master Bai's idea is very simple, if Dalian becomes a capital official in the future, there will be a village nearby, and if you want to eat vegetables and fruits, there will be places to grow them. Not to mention Erlang, although he is a concubine, he can't rely on the princess. Gotta have a bit of my own business. So recently he is planning to buy land. However, the autumn harvest has only started now, and few people will sell land at this time. If he wants to buy it, he will have to wait a few months before he can buy it until winter. Well, the land in the capital has always been in short supply, and it may not be possible to grab it in the winter. Didn't you see Manbao discussing privately trading her dowry with Princess Mingda early? It's just that although Master Bai is here, he has little influence on his two sons, especially Bai Erlang. Bai has been in the palace for 20 days and 7 or 8 days, making it even more difficult for the father and son to meet. So that Bai Erlang always forgets that his father is here. Bai Erlang went to greet his father and mother, and Master Bai followed suit. I've always heard Manbao's father say that his family's Zhuangzi is good, but I've never seen it. It's not that you and Shanbao also followed suit. Is it? Or should I go take a look? I want to eat steak, I want to eat stone pot fish, I want to eat dry pot, I also want to eat stewed pig's trotters, hot pot, barbecue. Because of being sick, I really want to take a bite when I see anything. The taboo should be the most murderous doctor's order in Chinese medicine. Woohoo, see you at 9 o'clock at night. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1986. The more Master Bai thought about it, the more he felt that this was a good idea. He said, just to see how the land in Yangzhou is. If the land near the capital is too difficult to buy, it's better to buy it in Yangzhou. It's not far away anyway. When Bai Erlang heard it, he immediately said, we don't take a car, we go on a horse. Master Bai glanced at him and said, it's like I can't ride a horse. After all, let the captain go down to prepare the horse and luggage, and he can stay for a few more days at his discretion. Bai Dalan on the side was all excited, and simply stood up and said, I'll go too. So, after a while, Daji and the others escorted the 5 horses out of the city. When they got out of the city, everyone let the horses run and quickly moved towards Yangzhou. It wasn't very far from the fast horse to Pu village. It arrived in Pu village before noon. Before reaching the other courtyard, Man Bao and the others saw the car parked on the side of the road from a distance, and when they were excited, they directly let the horse spread its hooves. Run forward, and when you reach the door, you will stop the horse and jump off the horse. When Master Bai and Dalan Bai followed behind, only Daji, who followed them first, was waiting at the door with a horse. Master Bai couldn't help shaking his head and laughing, I'm too impatient. Man Bao and the others have already rushed into the Zhuangzi. Everyone is in the main hall. They ran all the way, and there was a lively sharing of things there. Old Zhutu and the others were in the car. Well, when I looked up and saw the 3 of Man Bao running in, I couldn't help but startled, why are you here? Man Bao happily called out father, then turned to look at Thursday Lang, seeing that he was not only a lot darker, but also a little taller than before. She said, 4th brother, you will grow older. How tall are you? Chu Youlang didn't expect that this was what she was focusing on, so he smiled with a mouthful of teeth, and said happily, there is a lot of meat on the grassland, so it has grown a bit. Not only me, but Li Wei and Li Jun have grown too. Man Bao immediately went to see Zhou Li Wei and Zhou Li Jun. It was true, they were a lot taller than when they left. Zhou Lixiu and the others were all envious, and asked in a frenzy, there's so much meat on the grassland, wouldn't it mean that you can eat as much as you want? Zhou Li Jun, what do you think? It's because they have a lot of meat. That's because they don't have enough vegetables. Ordinary herdsmen eat more millet and broth. This trip, Zhou Li Jun has gained a lot of knowledge, and the harvest is very rich, and the harvest of Zhou Li Jun is also very rich. He didn't care about the gifts that were placed, and let the family divide them by themselves, while he sat and talked with Man Bao and the others under the eaves outside. Old Zhou Tiou warmly entertained Master Bai, and everyone lived under the same roof. Naturally, he was so enthusiastic because he was proud and wanted to show off. Master Bai was also very interested in what Thursday Lang brought back, so he followed him to watch it. Thursday Lang and the others were sitting under the eaves talking, and Man Bao asked them, is the journey safe? Thursday Lang said, you have led the way to brothers, and the journey has been smooth. It was only then that Man Bao remembered, by the way, what about big brother Xiang? Thursday Lang said, go to rest, this time, 30% of the goods brought back belong to him, he just counted them. Zhou Lijun showed Man Bao the list of goods they brought back this time. This time, Thursday, Lang still brought a batch of medicinal herbs and cattle back. He said, Lijun said that you are a doctor, and our family also grows medicinal materials, so this medicinal materials business is the best way to do it. Even if the income is not high, it cannot be stopped. Man Bao nodded, she thought so too. There are also cattle, said Thursday Lang. We took 2 trips and found that most of the cattle and sheep on the grasslands are cattle and sheep. Most of the cattle and sheep they raise are sold to the central plains and then exchanged for food. They are short of food, and we are short of food. Ox, this business is best done on the grasslands, and it can be done in any herdsman's home, and if we want to go further, this business can't be lost. In addition to medicinal herbs and cattle, this time, Thursday, Lang also bought a lot of leather goods, in addition to some pearls. It's just not many, it says 20. Man Bao asked, are the pearls sold one by one? That's right, one is not cheap. Le Jun refused to pay more, so I only bought 20. The rest of the money basically went into the medicinal materials and cattle, leather goods, especially the medicinal materials and cattle. 70% of the money is placed on these two items. She said, fur goods and pearls should not be eaten or drunk properly. The premium is too high. When you make a profit, you make a lot of money, and when you lose a lot. It is no better than the price of medicinal materials and cattle and sheep. Unless the cattle and sheep are dead, or the medicinal materials are damp, otherwise you won't lose money. Man Bao nodded again and again, business is to be stable. She turned her head to Zhou Lizhong and Zhou Liwei, who were squatting on the side, and said, you all have to be like Le Jun in the future, watch the fourth brother come, don't let him mess around. Shiro, am I that kind of person? Everyone, you are. Thura. Bai Erlang remembered something and asked Thursday, Brother Thursday, did you secretly buy pearls yourself? Shiro, how do you know? I guess, take it out and take a look. If it looks good, I'll buy it from you. Thursday Lang said, what do you buy? The things that the little girl uses. Bai Shan and Man Bao also looked at him. Bai Erlang said, isn't Man Bao's birthday coming soon? Man Bao, it's not coming soon, there are still 3 months left. Bai Shan, her birthday doesn't need you to send pearls, right? Thursday Lang also looked at him suspiciously, and said earnestly, second young master, my family Man Bao is not only your senior sister, but also your sister-in-law. Fourth brother, Bai Shan interrupted him quickly, Erlang is also engaged. Huh? So fast, which girl? Zhou Lijun and others also looked at Bai Erlang with great interest. Man Bao said, the emperor's family. The emperor's family? Well, what? Shiro couldn't help sitting up straight, staring at Bai Erlang with wide eyes, and then looking back at Man Bao and Bai Shan, the emperor's family. It's not princess. It's the princess, Man Bao said, Princess Mingda. Those who didn't know Shai Zilang and others all looked at Bai Erlang in amazement. It was hard to imagine that he actually became a concubine. Zhou Hulang immediately got up and said, you want to give Princess Mingda a birthday present. Pearls are indeed good things. The little girl's jewelry is not too luxurious. Pearls are the best. Man Bao said faintly, Mingda's birthday will not be until next spring, longer than me. Chu Hulang immediately changed his words and said, then you can give a goodbye gift. Isn't the Mid-Autumn Festival coming soon? The Mid-Autumn Festival is a gift for the beauties. Pearls are also very useful, and there are fine furs. It's going to be cold today. I will definitely make fox furs by then, and I have some very good fox furs, I will show you later. Man Bao and Bai Shan couldn't help looking up at the big sun in the sky together, feeling the heat in the air again, and then silently turned their heads to look at Shiro. Bai Erlang also said, it's just autumn. Thursday Lang, autumn is here, will winter be far behind? It will be cold in less than 2 months. Otherwise, why do you think we are returning to Beijing at this time? It is because the weather is getting colder, and fur and other things will start to be sold. See you tomorrow. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1987. Thursday Lang patted his chest and said, what's the relationship between us? Can't the goods I just get back be sold? I'm keeping it for you on purpose. He said, after the Mid-Autumn Festival, everyone will have to prepare clothes for the winter. If you buy them again, the fur will be too expensive. Are brothers, I will give you a cheaper price. Zhou Lejun was amused and explained to the fourth uncle went out this time and exchanged all the money he could use for goods, and now he has no money on him. But he still has so many people under him. Even if he has food, he still has to spend money to meet people and buy some meat and clothes. Zhou Lejun said, Grandma thinks that the fourth uncle spends too much money, so let me manage the account and don't allow him to add more money. Therefore, in order to have cash, Thursday Lang had to cash in the goods. Man Bao followed with a schadenfreude smile, and Chu Yo Lang turned his head angrily and glared at Lejun, can't you save me some face? Although Bai Erlang is usually stingy, he is generous when it comes to spending money. Thursday Lang patted him on the shoulder and assured, is there any difference in my goods? After discussing this matter, Chu Longke and Man Bao said, I will go back to the capital tomorrow, and I will bring some medicinal materials back first. If Ji Shitang wants me, I will give them to them, and then distribute some to other pharmacies. June, the medicinal materials we brought back are all good. Zhou Lejun often stayed by Man Bao and Lu's side, so he knew some methods of concocting medicinal materials, and he was better at identifying medicinal materials than Zhou Lejun, so the medicinal materials he picked out this time were good. He said, I asked the shopkeeper Zheng De, and the price of the prepared medicinal materials has doubled. It depends on what kind of medicinal materials it is. Some medicinal materials are easy to prepare and can be dried, which is not much different from raw medicinal materials, but some need to be processed with other things, such as wine, so the price difference is big. Man Bao looked over the list of medicinal herbs he brought back, seemed to know what he was thinking, and said, what you brought back are mostly raw medicinal herbs, but you have made a lot of money, and the preparation of medicinal herbs also requires secret recipes. Even if I can find the secret recipe, now our family many medicinal herbs are also poorly prepared. Man Bao has also learned to concoct medicinal materials with shopkeeper Zheng De, but until now, she can only do it. It is impossible for her to concoct all the medicinal materials independently. Although she can make it, the quality is not guaranteed. Man Bao said solemnly, some medicinal materials are poisonous. If they are not processed properly, the poison will remain in the medicinal materials. Then taking medicine is not a cure but poisoning. I really wanted to hand over the medicinal materials to the fifth sister-in-law and Li Ru's concocted Thursday, so he made up his mind, okay, I'll go back and talk to shopkeeper Zheng Da. Thulang's medicinal materials business already has regular customers, and with Manbao's face, it's basically not difficult to sell. Not to mention cattle, who is not short of cattle. Not to mention the distance, there's Guangxi is also very short, not to mention so many fields in the capital and Yangzhou, so there is no need to worry about selling cattle. However, Thursday Lang did not shoot all the cattle. He left more than a dozen to pull the cart and decided to send it back to Qilai village after the Mid-Autumn Festival. In the words of Lao's Hutu, such a good thing must be cheaper for the villagers. It is impossible to use cattle here, and people at home to pull the plow, right? Moreover, the Olds Hutu and the Jian family also plan to go home after the Mid-Autumn Festival. They have been away for a year, and they don't know how their home is going. It happened that Master Bai was going to go home after the Mid-Autumn Festival, so they decided to go together. Zhou Dalan and Qian's family were left behind. Zhuangzi is now under the control of Zhou Dalan and Qian's family, and a few Li Zhong came to help occasionally. Such a large piece of land, more than the family's fields, old Zhou Tiou did not feel relieved to hand it over to outsiders, and Man Bao was busy, so he still kept Zhou Dalan and his wife. Man Bao was overjoyed, and the anxiety of her parents leaving was instantly dissipated. She specially made a lot of pills for them and put a label on it for them to see, this is the diarrhea, this is the wind and the cold, this is the wind. It's hot, it's a fever. Anyway, you can keep it for half a year, and you can take it home for safe use on the road. He took out a lot of medicine bags, This is for mosquito repellent, Dad, you can take it with you, the mosquitoes outside are too vicious, don't get bitten, or you'll be miserable. Old Jotioyu took it all with a wave of his hand, then took Man Bao's hand and sighed, I don't know when Dad will be able to see you again after I leave. Man Bao said, what's the matter? When the fourth brother goes to Beijing, you can come along. Forget it, Lao Zhutu said with disgust, he still wants to do business, where is he free to take us? And last year, I didn't spend the new year at home. This year, I have to make sacrifices to my ancestors. I want to come again. Old Zhutu gritted his teeth and said, we have to finish Qingming next year. Man Bao let him relax, come here if you want, anyway, it only takes 9 days to get to the capital from home. Our family now has cars and mules and brothers and sisters-in-law in the fields. If you and your mother are bored at home, if you think the capital is too hot, then go home to escape the summer heat. Lao Zhutu was stunned, it seemed that Man Bao said that such a difficult thing to travel seemed to be very simple. He smacked his mouth and pondered the taste, really, let your fourth brother put 2 more cows in the house, and your mother and I don't have to go to the ground. If we miss you, we can just drive the car out. I think the road is very safe a few times, and there are no bandits or anything. Man Bao nodded again and again, just follow the official road, not the small road. Old Jotioyu nodded thoughtfully, thinking it was feasible. Old Zhutu remembered something, looked out and whispered to Man Bao, where are all your money? Man Bao subconsciously covered his purse and asked, what's wrong? Old Jotioyu glanced at her and said, will your father rob you of your money? Didn't your mother clean up your room for you yesterday? I went in and took a look, but I didn't see a place to hide money. How much money do you have? Don't mess around. The main reason is that Zhuangzi has already received all the grain and money that he harvested this summer. Now that the autumn harvest is about to end, the things that Chuolang brought back from his trip to the merchant are almost sold out, so he will definitely have to share the money. Man Bao gave a lot of capital at the time, and she also shared the most, not to mention that she still has a monthly salary. Old Zhutu wandered around her house and didn't see the money, so he was a little flustered. Did you put money out like the second young master of the Bai family? No, it's illegal to give money, Man Bao said righteously, and I'm still an official, how can I know the law and break the law? She paused and then whispered, Dad, Bai is not putting money, he just lends it to a few friends, and the profit is not high. See you at 6 p.m. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1988. Then you can't borrow, the old Zhutu said solemnly, it's not such a big thing as curing a disease and marrying a daughter-in-law. You have to borrow money to buy something, so people who don't have a lot of money can't talk to them. They have money exchanges, just like your fourth brother, who knows when they will do something wrong. He said, like your fourth brother, you shouldn't have too much cash in your hands, so you can spend as much as you can, and you can feel at ease if you don't have it. You are not allowed to learn from the second young master of the Bai family, do you know? Man Bao nodded. You mention it to Bai Shan, and don't let him learn, Lao Zhutu said worriedly, actually, I want to talk to Master Bai, but Master Bai thinks that the second young master is very smart, so I can't talk about it. Already. Man Bao nodded again and again, no matter what her father said, she should come down first. Then Lao Zhutu said the main purpose of his visit to his daughter this time, where is your money hidden? Do you want your father to bring it back to your hometown to hide it? When you get married, it will be your dowry. Man Bao immediately shook his head, Father, I'm in the capital, and I can only get money when I have it by my side. The old Zhutu said, if you are short of money, ask your fourth brother to get it, as well as your elder brother and elder sister-in-law. They all have money. Old Zhutu thought about it for a while, and whispered to her, Dad told you that your fourth sister-in-law and fifth sister-in-law all have money, and you keep your money. Man Bao. Seeing that he couldn't convince his daughter, the old Joe could only sigh, okay, you can take it yourself, but you have to save some money. Don't pay for the flowers at home, you know. He said very deliberately, you live in the palace, you don't have to worry about eating and drinking, the court will pack your clothes and other clothes for you, and Mrs. Lu will make clothes for you from time to time, so the vegetables and meat at home are made by your brother and sister-in-law. They pay. He reached out and touched her head and said, you are still young, I don't think your temper is as good as before. If you don't want to work in the palace in the future, you have to buy some fields and shops when you come out. You are so good. Medicine, do you have to open a pharmacy? It all costs money, how did you get the money? Earned. Man Bao secretly said. But the old Zhutu said decisively, save it. I told your elder brother and elder sister-in-law that as soon as we leave, they will take care of the expenses of this family, and let your elder brothers and sister-in-law pay monthly money, the rice grains used are your lumi, and any excess is yours. Man Bao, Dad, this is not good. What's wrong? This is the clear settlement of the brothers, the old Zhutu said sadly, I only knew when I came to the capital that Bai Shan's family is so rich. If your dowry is too small, you will go to Longzhou to ask for it. To be looked down upon. Old Zhutu used to know that the Bai family was rich. After all, Master Bai's family was there, and he was the largest landlord in their Shili Baxiang. His relatives, who came to defect to him, should not be far behind. I can see that Bai Shan also called slaves and maids when he was a child. Mrs. Lu and the others were dressed so well. I heard that there are several fields in their hometown. But when they got to the capital, the two lived under the same roof, and Chu Youlang set up a business with someone from the Bai family in Longzhou, and they all knew the background of the Bai family. Bai Shan's family has more than a few plots of land in Longzhou. I heard that there is land from Longzhou to the 3 southern states. In addition to the land, there are shops and other courtyards. The land in the capital is so expensive. When Lao Zhutu, who once took a sack of copper coins full of treasures and wanted to buy her a piece of land as a private property, asked about the price of 1 mu of land, he immediately gave up the idea. But the Bai family has a Zhuangzi on the boundary between the capital and Yangzhou, and it is not small. Unlike Manbao's job field, which may be taken back at any time, that Zhuangzi belongs to Bai Shan and will always belong to him. In addition, the Bai family also has 2 houses and 2 shops in the capital. Old Joe turned his head to look at Man Bao, and happened to see a string of beads on her head, which Mrs. Lu found out and gave to her 2 days ago. Because Thursday Lang was in the pearl business this time, Mrs. Lu suddenly remembered herself. I used to collect several sets of pearl jewelry. They were too old to wear them, so they found a set and gave them to Manbao. Lao Zhutu looked happy, but he was a little worried. Everything is good in Bai Shan's family, but they are too rich. Manbao said, is it bad to have money? It's good, but our family has too little money. It was only then that Manbao understood. Are you saying that the Bai family is not a puppet? What the lotus root? Manbao smiled and said, Father, Grandma Lu, Aunt Zheng, and Bai Shan are not people who pay attention to family status. Bai Shan and I are good match, and I don't think our family is not worthy of theirs. The old Zhutu said, that is, I can rest assured that your parents are kind to their family. Otherwise, I am really afraid that you will be wronged in the past. But you also have to be careful about the people in their clan. I heard your 4th brother say that before. Their orphans and widows can be bullied in Longzhou. Otherwise, their family wouldn't have moved to Qilai village to join Master Bai. Lao Zhutu shook his head and sighed, if I say that those people in their clan are also not short of food or drink, why do they need to drive out the extinct households? Manbao did not speak. Old Zhutu also sighed, Seeing that Manbao was unwilling to let him hide the money back to his hometown, he could only go back to his old wife with regret. Qian's family didn't agree with him to meddle in Manbao's money. Seeing that he came back with his hands behind his back and shaking his head, he knew it was unsuccessful. She smiled and said, "How about it, does Manbao have an idea of his own?" Old Zhou hummed and said nothing. Qian said, "She has been holding her own wealth in Zhuangzi since she was 7 or 8 years old. Now that she is so big, she naturally has more ideas. Why do you need to worry about it? I'm not afraid that she won't be able to save money with big money." Qian said calmly, "Don't worry, her ability to save money was taken from our old Zhou family, and it is as good as her medical skills." Old Zhou remembered the appearance of Manbao clutching his purse, and found that it was true, so he was happy again. He looked around the room and asked, "How are our things going?" "It's almost there. Bring everything you can, and leave what you can't. If you come to the capital in the future, you will need it." Lao Zhutu went to touch the bottom of the bed, but when he reached out his hand, he felt empty. He was startled, and immediately got down and looked at it. "My mother, where is the full treasure?" Qian looked back and said helplessly, "I asked the fourth child to exchange it for silver. How can you transport such a large sack of copper coins back?" She paused and said, "Otherwise, I'd better keep it for Manbao." "No, old Zhou said righteously, she spends a lot of money, I have to save some for her." She stopped talking and let him go. Old Zhutu didn't want to stay in the house anymore. "I'm going to ask the fourth son if he has changed the money back." See you at 9. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1989. Thursday Lang has been very busy recently. He sold the medicinal herbs and half of the cows in his hands. Then he started to sell the good furs and pearls while the Mid-Autumn Festival was approaching, and made a fortune. He also promised that when Manbao returned to his hometown, he would detour to Shangzhou to see the land and see if he could sell it at a good price. In fact, Shizalang and Lao Zhutu have the same idea. They feel that their family is not short of money now, and things like fields can be bought but not sold. But Manbao said that the land over there is surrounded by the Xia clan. So recently, when he was doing business, he also specifically inquired about the situation in Shangzhou. Since he wanted to sell the land, he had to find a buyer, especially Zushan from a family without a man. Find someone with access and power to sell it, otherwise there will always be problems. Because today is Mid-Autumn Festival, he rarely played with his wife and children half a day early. He was playing with his son on his neck. When he looked up and saw his father come in, he felt a little soft and almost didn't support his son. He hurriedly lowered his head and asked his daughter-in-law to carry his son down. Ms. Fang laughed and called out father and carried the child aside to play. Old Joe nodded and spoke to Thursday, "Fourth, where is the money your mother asked you to exchange?" Chu Yolang was stunned for a moment and reacted, and immediately said, "It's in the house." He hurriedly turned around and went back to the house to get it, and after a while he took out a few silver ingots. "Father, last time I just moved the money and forgot to ask, where did you and your mother get so many copper coins?" Old Zhou said, "Your sisters, not Gongzhong's." Thursday Suro, he didn't say he was from the public school. Eight Heads ran over and hugged his father's leg, raised his head and said, "Dad, go play, go play." Thursday Lang picked him up, patted his fat buttocks and said happily, "Okay, let's go play, can I take you to see the lanterns later?" Eight Heads clapped their palms happily. This year's Mid-Autumn Festival is the first Mid-Autumn Festival everyone has ever had in Beijing. They didn't have it in Beijing last year, so not only Thursday's father and son, but also Man Bao and Bai Shan were very excited. The two spent half a day at home, and followed Mr. Zhuang to paste a few lanterns out. They didn't care whether they looked good or not. When the sun set, they ran out after dinner. If it wasn't for the adults in the family, in fact, they didn't even want to eat dinner. There are so many delicious food outside, why do they have to eat at home? No matter how delicious the food cooked by my sister-in-law is, the snacks outside are still very attractive at this time. Because they thought there were a lot of people in the Mid-Autumn Festival, they didn't ride horses, but took a carriage to Suzaku Street. Because there are many people going out tonight, many elderly and children, Mrs. Lu did not let many people follow them, but only assigned Daji and a guard. If you don't care, just keep an eye on them. Master Bai also sent a guard to follow, so the three of them ran first with 3 guards. Zhou Lixiu and the others also wanted to run away, but their parents, uncles, and aunts didn't go out, so they were not allowed to run around. His father even frightened him, "Be careful to shoot Hanatzi and shoot you, and we will never see us again." Zhou Lixiu, "Dad, I'm 15. What's wrong with 15? Zhou Dalin said, "I heard that there are people who specialize in photographing adults in their 20s and 30s, and sell them in the mountains for mining. How can you be better than them?" Zhou Lixiu lost his temper immediately. Man Bao and Yin Or made an appointment to meet at the Zhuangyuan building. At this time, there were already many pedestrians on the street, but it was not crowded. As soon as they reached the door of the restaurant, the three jumped down, and as soon as they entered the door, they heard someone shout, "Hey, say Cao Cao, Cao Cao is here, Bai Shan, Mr. Kong has a question, come and write a poem." Bai Shan replied without raising his head, "You guys do it first, I'll visit my friends first, and see you later." The Zhuangyuan building in the Mid-Autumn Festival is the world of literati and writers. The Zhuangyuan building also intends to create such a culture, so it was announced early that there will be a literary meeting in the Zhuangyuan building on the Mid-Autumn Festival. Not only the second floor and the third floor have been reserved, but also the place in the lobby. Book a lot. Zhao Liaolang is rich and powerful, no, he has prestige. When they were still in the palace, they jumped up and down to express that they would book a large private room in the Zhuangyuan building and use it as a venue for their Changguan pavilion. Of course, he worked so hard because he lacked money. As the son of his uncle and the cousin of the crown prince, it was not difficult to book a room, but it required money to book a room, and even more money for food and drink. Zhuangyuan building has launched a special Mid-Autumn Festival menu. The premium is too high. Even a cold okra can take the name of Jasper in the pool, and then sell it for 500 yuan a plate. During the festival, Zhao Liaolang not only wanted to give gifts to his daughter-in-law and son, but also to his mother, so he felt a little shy in his pocket. But not going to the Zhuangyuan building on the Mid-Autumn Festival was too bad. In order not to eat dirt in the next few months, he accepted Bai Shan's proposal and directly asked everyone to join forces to reserve a large private room in the Zhuangyuan building. Thanks to Zhao Liaolang, they directly booked a private room on the top third floor. The location is very good. There are 8 windows in a row. There are 2 large round tables in it, and there is a wooden couch on the other side of the screen. Big. It was the first time for Bai Shan and the others to go up to the third floor of the Zhuangyuan building after being in the capital for so long. Feng Zongping immediately laughed when he saw them from the open door. "Bai Shan and the others are here, where did you buy such ugly lamps?" The people who had already come to the private room looked over and couldn't help laughing. "Is it so ugly, or is it the simplest round lantern? How much did it cost?" Seeing that the 3 of them didn't speak, Feng Zongping had a flash of inspiration and asked incredulously, "You didn't do it yourself, did you?" Bai Shan hung the lantern well and snorted, "Why can't we do it? Isn't it normal to make lanterns in the Mid-Autumn Festival?" Man Bao and Bai Erlang nodded together, and hummed, "That's right, we used to do it when we were kids." Zhao Liaolang looked disgusted, Can you do this often? The three of them looked slightly stiff and forced to excuse themselves. I haven't done it for 2 years, so I just gave birth, and it will be fine after another 2 years. Everyone couldn't understand. A lantern is not expensive, why do you have to make it yourself? Can they say that if they can't go to the county seat to spend the Mid-Autumn Festival when they are young, they can only spend it in the dark village, so it is a very happy thing to make a lantern by yourself? Bai Shan said seriously, this is the Tao. Our husband said that the customs of the Mid-Autumn Festival are lanterns, moon cakes and moon worship. Only by doing everything in person can you experience the Tao. Everyone was stunned when they heard it. Man Bao and Bai Erlang on the side tried their best to hold their faces and nodded seriously. Feng Zonping said thoughtfully, it's true, Mr. Zhuang is amazing. Zhao Liaolang asked, so you still make moon cakes? Yes, Bai Shan glanced at him, he could do it, but would you dare to eat it? Anyway, over the years, he has eaten a bite. See you tomorrow. Farmer's Blessed Girl. Author, Yu Yuzu. Chapter 1990. Yin or Lu Huan came together. After all, the two lived close together. When Lu Huan went out, he always liked to detour to Yin's house and call for Yin or to go together. As soon as the two arrived, the people in the Changguan pavilion were all there. Zhao Liaolang called to serve the food, and Man Bao stiffened as he remembered one thing, we have dinner. Zhao Liaolang and the others looked at them 3 times with contempt. As for the Mid-Autumn Festival, you are still eating dinner at home. Yin or faintly said on the side, I ate too. Zhao Liaolang ignored him. Yin or had many physical problems, he was excusable when he came out after eating at home, and Zhou Man and the others had also eaten at home before going out, which seemed too well behaved. Bai Shan turned his head and said to Man Bao, it doesn't matter, I'll be hungry in a while. Because they not only ate early this meal, but also deliberately ate less, originally to save their stomachs for snacks outside, and now the food in Zhuangyuan building is cheaper. Lu Yu shouted, let's not talk about the food, let's go to the bar first. Zhao Liaolang was also excited, yes, drink first. A large part of the reason why everyone joined the group was because of the wine in the Zhuangyuan building. Good wine is expensive, a pot of Zhuangyuanhong is 929 cents, and a bottle of wine is 1921. I heard that it is not worse than the one in the palace. They are not interested in Zhuangyuanhong or Manbao, but the wine is sweet, and Manbao is still very interested. So everyone waited for a drink. While they were busy waiting for drinks, the downstairs was very lively, so Feng Zonping went to open the 6 windows on the other side, and the movement in the lobby downstairs was noisy, and he could hear it clearly here. When Bai Shan and the others came up, they discovered that on the 3rd floor, in addition to the stairs, there was a lobby and a path connecting the 4 large rooms, and there was a huge patio leading directly to the roof above the 3rd floor. The 4 large private rooms were built directly connected to the patio extending upward from the lobby. Bai Shan Zheng felt strange. Although the room space obtained in this way was large, it was not good for the guests to walk. At this moment, when Feng Zonping saw that he directly opened the wooden bar facing the patio, he realized that it was a window. There are also 6 large windows, from which you can directly see the situation of the lobby on the 1st floor, and even the side of the 2nd floor has a panoramic view. It was obvious that they were on the 3rd floor, but as soon as the windows were opened, what everyone said on the 1st floor seemed to ring in their ears. Man Bao felt it was very strange, and when he was looking at it curiously with his eyes open, Bai Shan tugged at her sleeve and motioned her to look at the wall outside. Man Bao looked intently, only then did he realize that there seemed to be some stones embedded in the walls from the 1st floor to the 3rd floor, or shells, all of which were spirally installed. Actually, there were not many, but it was just like this. Some are similar, but a little different, so they haven't noticed. When Feng Zonping saw that they were looking at the wall, he smiled and said, "Did you see it too?" Bai Shan and Man Bao nodded in amazement. It turns out that this is the echo mentioned in the book. These stones and shells are just like the mountains in their Qilai village. Standing in them and talking, the voice will continue to echo. The screw shape is specially made here. It seems that the person who designed the Zhuangyuan building also knows that the screw shape is more likely to have echoes. Feng Zonping said with a smile, I didn't know when I went to the third floor for the first time. It was only after someone reminded me that these stones and shells from the first floor to the third floor were actually a painting. Bai Shan and Man Bao. The two of them blinked and widened their eyes to see, is this a painting? Feng Zonping's smile froze, didn't you see this? Bai Shan, I didn't see it. Bai Erlang also squeezed over to take a look, but after looking at it for a long time, he couldn't see it. What painting? Hey, why did they put stones on the wall? They were even beaten into snails. Yin Or stood at the window next to him and looked down. After a while, he said, it's like a mountain, with waterfalls and running water. Bai Shan and Man Bao, who were trying to look at the stones from the first to the third floor, also saw some clues. They pointed to the stone that was curved up on the opposite side and said, is that the top of the mountain? Feng Zonping was in a better mood, nodded and said, yes, I heard that this painting can only be seen in the 4 private rooms on the third floor, and it is a coincidence that there are some mountains that can be seen from each private room. Different, but the top of the mountain must be in the private room opposite. Bai Shan, isn't this for sound transmission? Man Bao clearly heard someone downstairs shaking their heads and writing a poem, and many people shouted okay, even Zhao Liaolang couldn't help but look at the window. She said, is it just to spread the voice? Feng Zonping was puzzled, what is the sound transmission? Bai Shandao, don't you think standing on the third floor can clearly hear the voice downstairs? Yeah, it's only the third floor, and it's not high. I'm calling you from the observation floor, can you hear me? Bai Shan said, this is different. The people downstairs didn't raise their voices deliberately, but listen, we can even hear what people usually say clearly. Man Bao reached out and touched the window on the side, and sighed, no wonder you can't tell from the outside that it's a window. It's built too tightly, it should be for sound insulation. Feng Zonping, what? Isn't it the same as when we were young in the mountains shouting and listening to the echoes? Bai Erlang was no longer interested, he leaned on the window and looked down, pointed directly to the banner that was hung up, and said, did you see it? And a new topic has emerged, the first person to send a good dish from the Zhuangyuan building, Bai Shan, come on. Bai Shan, shut up, I don't want to write poetry. At that time, there were still articles, and the prize for making a fuss was even greater, but the poetry was so well received, don't be biased. This is a joke from Bai Erlang's mouth. Feng Zonping was still very interested in what they said about the sound transmission. After seeing such a sentence, he was too bent to see the end. He quickly pulled back, what's the point of these stones and shells? Man Bao and Bai Shan have also figured out the secret of this building's sound transmission. They are mainly amazed that the designer can not only make it sound, but also make a painting. Desire, so he replied in a few words, it's just a voice, just like when we were young in the mountains and shouted to hear the echo. Seeing Feng Zonping's dazed expression, Bai Shan asked in disbelief, isn't it, you never heard the echo when you were a child? Feng Zonping had 1,000 words in his chest, and he asked humbly after a while, what is an echo? Man Bao was also incredulous, no way, forget about other things, who hasn't played this thing before? This is not something unusual. It has been used by her father down to her nephew who is only a few years old. Sometimes people from the next village come to inform them of some things in the village, and they are too lazy to actually go to their village and then climb. When I got to the mountain, I shouted at the fields of their village, and when I called someone, I sent a message over the air, which saved half a day of work. When they were young, they liked to go to the mountains to scream and listen to the echoes. It happened that they read a book at that time, which explained the transmission of sound in detail, so they went to the mountains to play for several days, and their voices were hoarse. Is it? See you at 6 p.m.